What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the show. I am your host, Mark Bader. This is The Bader Show, and we're up at episode 432. Today's January 14th, 2025. And we're joined by the head coach at the University of Maryland. It's Alex Clemsen. Alex, thanks for joining us today, man. How you doing?
I'm great. Appreciate you having me on, Bader. I was just thinking about during this intro with the funky music, the first time I met you running hills at camp getting screamed at and how you were like giggling through it.
Oh man, that's crazy. Alex, you were a camper when I was in college. I do remember you. I remember you being like the front of the heat, front of the pack, sprinting up these hills at 7 in the morning.
I think I kept making us run more because I kept beating some of the guys, and that kept making the little angry man Pritz yell more.
It could have. He's an intense one for sure. But hey, I want to, you guys had a big win over the weekend, right? You knocked off number 10 Michigan, and you've had big goals and visions from the time you got, you stepped into office at the head coaching office. What made you believe, hey, we're going to do big things here at Maryland? Why did you think it was possible, and why did you think you were going to do it?
Probably threefold. One, it had been done here before. Coach Santoro had this place rolling before he decided to take his talents to Lehigh. And I think working for Coach Smith for 5 seasons, hearing his story, the genesis story of building Tiger Style and what he's done at Mizzou, and being on the back half of that or the back end of that, seeing the fruits of the early sacrifices he made and so many other people made like yourself. And then I think it's kind of how I'm wired too, right? Just never back down from a challenge or shied away from hard. And just probably one of the things I've been blessed with. We've all got our strengths and weaknesses, and it seems to be one of mine that's been able to push me. I got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah. And I want to play a clip from the last time you were on the show. It was, I think, last year, shortly after you guys beat Purdue, which was kind of a milestone win for you guys at the time. And then we'll just react to it real quick. So, Nikki, whenever you're ready, we're going to pull that over.
Against the best programs in the country, and I want to beat all those programs. And everywhere I've been, we have. When I was at Edinburgh, we beat Penn State. When I was at Missouri, we beat Ohio State. Why can't we do the same thing when I'm at Maryland? And we're going to at some point. It's just a matter of time.
So you said, we're and they are a top program. Michigan's been second in the nation, over the last few years at some point. And what do you think when you see that clip? It's not a matter of time. It's a matter of when.
Well, you think about just all the hard work it's taken. Been some long days, been some times that weren't really fun. And then you think about the people that have done it with you, the staff and the families and the kids and my own family, what they gave up to leave home to come out east and give me an opportunity to chase my dreams. I think I'm super thankful just for what other people have done with me along this time so far in College Park and what they continue to do. It takes a village. It takes an army, and I like my village.
Yeah. So you had a double Michigan weekend. You had Michigan and Michigan State. It's a Big Ten dual season. We all know, this is the thick of it. January goes like that, and all of a sudden it's conference. You're wrestling these Big Ten duels. What kind of message did you have for your team? I don't know, this week at practice or as you're getting on the road. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of it's simple coach speak, right? Did you guys like the way you felt on Friday and Sunday? You better keep paying the toll. There's no secret sauce in our world. It takes what it takes. And you got to come in every day with your hard hat on and your shovel and get to it. And so far, our kids have done that. I liked our response on Saturday when we worked out in East Lansing. And then I liked the way we competed on Sunday. I thought we dropped one at 74 that we really shouldn't have. Credit to their guy. But I like our young kid, and I expect him to compete better again this Friday night like he did last Friday. So our kids just need to continue to put in good days of practices. We had a practice last Tuesday that I think was a kind of a momentum setter, a marker for us, and our kids kind of got it. The light bulb, you kind of saw it go off, and we have just kind of referenced that the more days you put in like that, the more opportunities you'll have to feel like you did Friday and Sunday. And if that's what we want, then that's what we got to do. So we'll just see if our kids are up for the challenge.
Take me into that Tuesday practice a little bit. I guess it sounds like one that was impactful, or, a lot of times you come in and practice and it's, one practice to the next, right? That, hopefully you're getting a little bit better. But what was it about this particular Tuesday? Was it something they did on the mat? Was it an attitude? Was it a thing you saw mentally with confidence or whatever?
Yeah, we actually had Monday off because that was just our scheduled off day. And then Tuesday morning, we had to skip our workout because we had bad weather out here. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of changed what we were going to do on the mat. And we had to kind of put it into one practice. And Coach Brissetta kind of brainstormed a unique setup, and we talked through it, and he ran it. And the rest of the staff just had really high energy, and the kids really got after it, and we just kept praising them and encouraging them. And you saw a guy have a breakthrough over here, and a couple minutes later, a guy have a breakthrough over there, and you could just tell that the kids felt it, and it was cool. I knew after that practice, we felt like we had a path to victory on Friday night, and I felt like after that practice, like, all right, well, our kids are ready to battle, so that path could come to fruition, and it did. And that's really how you win dual meets, right? There's only 10 weights. So you better secure your path because both teams probably have a path. And our kids just found a way. And Tuesday's practice was just really high intensity, and we kind of took some parameters off of it and really let them get physical and wrestle a high pace. And they responded really, really well. And I think, you saw that this weekend. Our team looked like they were, ready for some battles, and they were deep into matches and executing at a high level. Yeah.
And it's got to be exciting when you said we knew there was a path to victory, right? You can kind of see the things that have to go right. And I think a lot of coaches probably do that. Kind of put me in that duel. I think you got majored on the first one, but you get a pin. And how you saw the momentum shifting. If you're maybe peeking ahead, calculating what may or may not happen or what maybe has to happen, but kind of walk me through some of the big moments, good or bad, for you from that duel.
Yeah, I mean, even at 25 when we got majored, we were in on a leg attack late and had an opportunity to take the major away. And our guy battled really hard and gave himself that opportunity. And that's really what I asked for before the match. I was like, listen, I don't even want to talk about outcomes or what people should do or shouldn't do. I want to see dudes go out and throw hands for 7 minutes. And that whistle blows, you get across that line and you try to get to your positions, and you don't worry about how you feel. And if you do that until the last whistle blows, good things will happen, and you'll be proud of how you competed, and we'll be happy with how you represented yourself in our program. And so when Tyler was in on that takedown and late to save the major, just the effort he gave, I just told our bench, I was like, look, that's what we asked for. We didn't ask for perfect. We didn't ask to win. We said, give us your best and fight from the opening whistle to the final whistle. And then Braxton went out and found a pin late. And that's really when he got the pin, I was like, okay, you're saying there's a chance. And then Lemus went out, and last year, he had a chance to wrestle Lemley in the duel at home and didn't wrestle as competitively as I think he would have liked to or he's capable of. And the match really got away from him last year. And then this year it was a dogfight. And I think that just from there, as our staff continue to talk to our bench and the next guys coming up, like, hey, look, this is the effort we're talking about, to trying to take the pressure off the guys. Like, it ain't about winning. It's put your best foot forward and give yourself opportunities to compete. at a high level, and we'll be proud of you and happy, and you'll feel good about it too. And Cal Miller, went out and did what he does, and Ethan followed that up with a gritty late takedown against a very good guy. And, we just came back out after halftime, and Montanona's really dangerous, and we've got a young kid wrestling, and I figured if we could get out of that without giving up bonus points, then the path was still possible. And our young guy did more than that. I mean, he was in position to score late to flip that match. So once that happened, I was like, all right, I like the back half of this lineup. And, Jackson Smith found a big late takedown, and that sealed the victory, really, because I thought we could. I don't want to say should win, right? That's not fair to a guy, but I thought, I felt good about our heavyweight match. Seth's been wrestling really well. I didn't ever think a major was in jeopardy, and I thought, he'd have an opportunity to get that W, and I think he probably should have wrestled that match a little differently, and we've talked about it, and I know he's ready for the next opportunity.
Sure, and I think it was you got a 15-10, 18-10 lead, and you give up a tech fall, right? That puts it within 3. But like, if that's a pin, if you lose the next one, you're gonna lose the duel. I don't know. Nobody ever wants to get tech fall. Nobody ever wants to lose. But was it ever like, maybe we're not happy to get tech fall, but happy to not get pinned? Okay, tech fall, shoot.
Yeah, actually. I'll give our guy some credit. He's a tough kid. He battles late into matches and has given some guys fits late in matches. And there was a point there right before the tech happened where we had a quick, brief interaction. And I was like, it's okay to give the takedown up. Just go to your belly. And the next time the shot happened, he bailed really well and got to his belly and was very selfless for his team. So, sometimes you got to lose a battle to win the war, and it takes a guy that really loves his teammates to be able to do that. And Chase Milnick's a great kid, so hard to ask a guy to do that, but really thankful that he was able to swallow his pride and make sure he helped his team.
Sure. Like, have you been, whether it was at Maryland or Missouri or Virginia or Edinburgh or anywhere that you've been, Oregon State? Have you been on the winning side of a duel where you've just felt the momentum? Like, I assume you felt momentum kind of gaining in your favor as the duel went on. It's like one thing went right, and then all the little things are falling right. Have you been a part of a duel like that, or can you look back and recall one that was similar?
Yeah, I think 2 times I can think of one. One was that Purdue duel you referenced that happened 2 seasons ago. We knew we had to win 4 or 5 coming out after halftime, and we won the first one, and I told our bench, there's 1. And then our captain delivered a big overtime win, and I was like, there's 2. And we kept it rolling, and Jackson Smith delivered a big pin similar to what Braxton Brown did for us this weekend. And then there was a fun moment, we had at Missouri. We went into Columbus against a really good Ohio State team, and Drake Hotteshelt pinned Hunter Stieber, and that kind of set the duel in motion for us to, get a big road win. And we didn't have our heavyweight at that time. Devin Mellon was unable to compete in that dual meet, and so we were down a man, and Johnny Eblin moved up to 97 and wrestled Snyder and stayed off his back. And then Jaden went up to heavyweight and had to score. I think he had to beat the guy by 6 or 7 points for us to win on criteria. And Jaden did Jaden things and delivered. So that was a fun one.
Sure. I want to play one more clip, Nikki, if you want to pull this one over. This was I'm taking this from Instagram. This was right after the duel. But just tell me about this scene. Describe to me how this felt. And obviously it's you in the locker room. So, Nick, whenever you're ready, you want to play this. That had to feel good.
Yeah, it's hard to really put into words, I love what I do, and it's really for moments like that to just see the guys that you get to coach every day really enjoy themselves and enjoy their sport. Wrestling's hard, right? It's not like a lot of other sports. It's not always fun. And so that was a fun night, those moments. And then the moments where, you're proud of guys that, getting through a tough class or, graduating, or a guy calls you and says he's getting married or having his first child. Those are the moments I think, that's why you coach, is to share those moments with the kids that, believe in you and like you believe in them. So just to have that moment with the guys, I think it'll be a long time till I forget that one. And I just told our kids, and our staff, just how thankful I was for their effort and just the work that they put in behind the scenes that nobody gets to see, that leads to that moment. And just because you put work in or just because you put time in doesn't mean you're going to win. It doesn't mean that you're going to get your hand raised. And so to go on the road and beat a blue blood program that is ranked in the top 10 in the country, and you don't have a ton of those opportunities. And our kids cashed one in, and it's really cool.
Yeah. Now I was kind of looking back at your schedule this year and your results, and man, you shut out American University. Was this the first time you had a shutout as a coach?
No, I think we'd had another one at some point earlier. I can't remember when it was, to be honest, but man, you know what? That's a good question. Maybe it was. I'm not sure, to be honest. It might have been. I got one as an associate head coach when we split the squad one year at Missouri. Brian took half the group to Eastern Michigan, and I took half the group to Buffalo. I tell Brian he has one less win. I was at Buffalo. He wasn't.
And you guys got a shutout?
We got a shutout, and Brian didn't.
There we go. And did I see that did American lose a point? Did they finish with a negative?
We both lost a point. There was a little heated exchange between two guys after a match, and I think the ref did a good job of calming, both kids down and setting the tone for the rest of the dual meet. So guys kept it, clean afterwards. Is what it is. Things happen. It's physical sport.
Yeah. And I guess speaking of exchanges, right? I think it was last year. This clip shows, it's BTN, and I believe you guys are wrestling, obviously, and I don't believe you guys were wrestling Penn State, and there's, I think it's as the match is over, the duel's over, maybe you guys are shaking hands. I don't remember, but you and Casey Cunningham are exchanging words, and I don't think you're trying to line up to go get ice cream together afterwards or something. What happened there?
Yeah, just frustrated. I think that had probably boiled over from previous times too. Just didn't like some of the chirpiness. I don't think they appreciated some of the chirpiness from me either. And Casey said something that I took exception to, and I turned back, and I took exception to something that he had said, and then we had a further engagement. And I didn't like the way the match at 174 had gone. We had two guys out. We wrestled a third string guy to make sure that, Carter had a match. And I felt like he should have just taken him down and pinned him. And it got reported that I said, you didn't have to pin him. And that's not what I said. I said, you didn't have to embarrass him. You should have just taken him down and pinned him and gotten off the mat. It'll make me think twice about, do I put a third string guy out in the future? There's been another time where that's happened with another team where I've gone to a coach and said, yeah, I'll put a guy out, make sure your guy gets his match because he's close on RPI or match rank or whatever. I just don't want to see a kid get embarrassed. Just didn't like that in our home gym. It's not my job to coach their team, though. Obviously, I probably didn't need to say anything. It got misconstrued pretty good on social media. That's not always bad for the sport. More eyes, more clicks, more views. Had to be at my expense. So what? I got thick skin. I can take it. it's not anybody's job from Penn State to like me either. So,
Yeah,
is what it is. I've tried really hard this year not to engage with other staffs and not to ride referees as hard. It's something that in the off season I just told myself I need to get better at. It's not professional. It's, our guys, I feel like sometimes I think when I got here, felt like I needed to show the fight that I wanted the guys to emulate. Sure. And I think we're past that as a program. Our kids know what the standard is and they know how to fight. And I need to just let them do their thing and coach better. So I've tried really hard to do that. And so far, knock on wood, I've done that. I'm sure my patience will get tested and my convictions will be put to the limit, but hopefully I'll continue to keep it together a little more than I have at certain points in my career. And credit again to like the staff. I told these guys this was something I wanted to work on, and they've reminded me a couple of times when they could feel I was getting wound. Maybe I don't have a pullback guy, but maybe I got a guy in my ear saying, "Hey," So it's been good. I think it's been good for our team too. It's like, I can't fight for you. You better fight. So figure it out.
It's an emotional sport, right? Maybe and very personal, right? On lots of levels.
Yeah,
so
really intimate.
Yeah, it's easy to get fired up and worked up.
That's the word I always use when I try to describe it to people, is like our sport's just way more intimate. You can have physical sports, you can have sports that are really hard and where there's battles and things, but nothing like being in a piece of spandex on full display fighting another human. It'll hit you different.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to switch gears real quick. Name, image, likeness, the transfer portal. How much have these things changed your job, or what's happening at Maryland? Since the implementation, because this wasn't a thing when you showed up there.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, and I probably didn't do a good enough job embracing it at first, and our AD made a comment one time in a staff meeting where he said, "You don't have to like the direction of college athletics, but if you're going to work in it, you better understand it and get your head wrapped around it and respond and perform accordingly." And it just kind of hit me like, it's not my job to like the rule set. It's not my job to like the direction. It's my job to put our kids and our program in position to compete at a higher and higher level. And so, we've spent more time on that front, and we will continue to spend more time on that front. When I say we, it's probably me, right? Just having to change how I spend some of my time and energy. I got into coaching to help young people. I got into coaching to be a part of, their maturation process. I got into coaching because I like teaching single legs and I like traveling and watching our guys battle other people's guys. I did not get into coaching because I wanted to be a, pseudo agent or a finance manager for 17 to 23-year-old kids. Mm-hmm. But here we are, and that's, where we're headed, and we'll continue to spend more time and energy on it and grow our war chest and grow our opportunities for our kids as they present themselves as worthy. And we got some guys that are, and I'm happy for that because I want to win more wrestling matches.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of wrestling matches, wrestlers, got a question. Who is your all-time favorite wrestler?
Man, that's tough.
It's supposed to be.
Growing up, it was probably Sonny Abe and Lincoln McIlravy. I just loved watching those two guys. I got to go to a couple national tournaments when I was, 12, 13 years old, and those guys were, just doing their thing, and loved watching those guys compete. I think when you think about the new age guys, JB's just, his run's been incredible, and to watch him kind of continue to evolve his style and his skill set, and know what he's overcome to win some of the medals he has. And, you just respect him immensely, I think, as a competitor. But yeah, I think, in my formative years, man, I wanted to be able to hit a boot scoot and, I wanted to be able to move like Sonny. And, so those were the guys that I think when I was growing up, I was like, had posters or was trying to go watch or whatever. Those were the two dudes. And it's pretty cool. I haven't had to get any interactions with Lincoln, but I've had a couple with Sonny, and I'm like like this giddy little kid when I get around him. And I had to like tell him, I was like, dude, I'm sorry if I'm like weirding out right now, but like I used to like worship you. And he was so gracious and cool about it. And it was we've had a couple of fun interactions.
Did you ever hit the boot scoot? Did you ever get the boot
I
scoot
tried.
Down? Yeah.
I tried. You seen my hiney? That thing don't disappear very fast.
It's bad plot.
Yeah.
All right. I got one last little, we'll call it a game show, a little quiz show here. We call Sweat It Out. It's 5 questions designed to make you sweat. It's going to be difficult. All right. And I know you went to Edinburgh. You now coach at Maryland. This is a Pennsylvania, Maryland-themed quiz show. And actually has nothing to do with wrestling. These are all kind of random questions. You ready?
Ready.
All right. Number 1. Which school is older, Edinburgh University or the University of Maryland?
Edinburgh.
Wrong. Maryland. 1 year older. Maryland was founded in 1856, Edinburgh in 1857.
I actually thought Edinburgh was 1837.
All right. Well, you had all but the 5 right. Which state is more populated, Pennsylvania or Maryland?
Pennsylvania.
You got it. Pennsylvania comes in about 13 million. Maryland right around 6. Which state was admitted to the Union first?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania was the second. I didn't know that. State admitted to the Union in December 1787. Maryland was the 7th, April of 1788. Question number 4. The capital cities, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Annapolis, Maryland. Which one has a higher population?
Harrisburg.
Harrisburg by 10,000. Harrisburg has 50,000. Annapolis, 40,000. You're doing well. I think you got just the first one wrong. And the last one, these are all according to, I think, Wikipedia or just the internet in general. Who has a higher GDP, gross domestic product, in 2024, Pennsylvania or Maryland?
Oh man, that's you're probably looking at some of the steel industry versus shipping and beach season. I'm going to go Maryland.
Got that wrong. Pennsylvania, 804 billion. Maryland, 435 billion.
Wow.
So there you have it. 3 out of 5, which is 60%.
Not great.
If we had more, you would give you a better shot at getting that price up. But that's where it stands. That's where we stand, Alex. And really, I know you got some one-on-one, so I appreciate you scooting this early and having the ability to do this early in the day. I just want to kind of give you the floor and the final word to say whatever you want about your program or wrestling or anything in general, really.
Well, I'll say this about the sport right now, just, with the whole name, image and likeness and the evolution of the House versus NCAA settlement. If you're in an area where you can get to a match, go. Whatever college level it's at, especially if it's at the Division I level, try to fill those seats. Try not to watch at home on ESPN Plus or Big Ten Plus or Flow. I think it's important to show administrations that the sport's really healthy and that the fan base is really passionate. I think a couple sports right now are beating us at that. And you think about volleyball and baseball. We need to do a better job as a fan base of not just making the NCAA tournament as special as it is, but making the regular season better attended. I would just implore people to do that. And then no matter where you're a fan of or a supporter of, whether you think your program's in great shape or you think it's not in great shape, money talks. And so supporting your team, your program with a donation is super, super important right now. And it's not just dollars, right? If you can show your administration numbers of people, I think that's important too. I know it's made a difference here as they've continued to increase our resources. Part of the reason I think has been is they've seen us privately fundraise and they've seen us grow our crowd sizes. And so, Mr. Evans and Miss Sorum and the rest of the administration team here sees that Maryland wrestling is viable and important and people care about it. And I think that that's important across the board. As far as Maryland wrestling goes, man, it's a cool time to be a Terp. I think, we're close. I told Mr. Evans when I interviewed for the job, he asked how long it would take to turn this thing around. And I said, probably 4 years to be competitive and 6 years to be good. COVID probably slowed that down a touch, hurt us just a little bit. But again, that's the skill or that's the rule set that we get to fight in. But I think we're close to being pretty good. I think, we're on the precipice of breaking out and having some good things happen. And so if you're a Terp supporter and you're sitting on the sideline, man, jump in, get in on this with us. And we got plenty of room to welcome you. And if you're a kid that's thinking about where to go to school or what do I want in a program, it's one of the best public educations you can get in the world. You get to wrestle in the Big Ten in one of the largest media markets in the country with a staff that's young and creative and energetic. We want the best kids that want to wrestle really, really hard and go to school and get a meaningful degree. And if that sounds like you, love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, that's great stuff, Alex. I appreciate you joining us, man. Congrats on the success. I know you're not satisfied, and I know you're always looking forward and pushing for bigger goals. So we'll look forward to you chasing those and pursuing that. And I love the message, and I'll echo, hey, if you're a wrestling fan and you can get to a college match at any level, please go attend, support wrestling, support college wrestling. I know it means the world to you and me, and if you're watching this, you love it just as much. So, Alex, thanks for joining us. Have the great rest of your season, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Bader. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you. Have a good one. And that's